if you go through a phase in your life where you feel life has lost its sweetness and you're bitter consistently, and it's perpetuated in your being morning, afternoon, and night, the sense of bitterness, the sense of anxiety, the sense of anger to do with the fact that the world isn't fair and life is not sweet and beautiful anymore. And if that goes on for an extended period of time, you will then start exhibiting signs of having diabetes. We have so many blocks when it comes to sex in our country. We're taught not to touch, not to this, not to that. To cover up, modesty, morality. We come in with so many blocks about even enjoying sex that, you're too forward if you enjoy sex as a woman. Yeah. So I think a large part of our lives is focused on thinking wellness means if I'm physically fit, yes, I'm fit.
Yes.
That was the agenda. And that to physically fit meant like you had to be thin. Okay, so that again was the standard of fit was thin, which is not. You can be tubby and you can also be very, very fit. Fitness levels have nothing to do with weight. It is connected, but not to the extent that you have to be super skinny, because you can be super skinny and super unfit.
Welcome to Voice It with Karishma Shah. So Pooja, thank you firstly for coming to the show. Thank you so much for doing this. I love the whole vibe of Happy Soul, and of course, it resonates with the kind of person that you are.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this. I want to ask you firstly, please tell me the story behind you starting Happy Soul.
God. It's actually steeped in so many layers. I think my whole life has always been about being the person who's there for others. And I've just enjoyed giving. I've enjoyed sharing. As you know, my family is a family that's been steeped in various forms of spirituality actually, for your viewers may not know, so let me inform them. I am the 18th direct descendant of Guru Nanak. That is my lineage line that comes through. In addition to that, my grandfather, Pooja Bedi, was a healer. So he healed thousands and thousands of people through energy work. And this for me as a child was very fascinating. And he has a monastery up in Italy above Venice in a place called Cittadella that till today, despite my grandfather passing on, continues with his healing and teaching practices. I never understood this as a child. How did people come in with all sorts of diseases and get cured? And it seemed like these woo-woo sciences, and I wanted proof.
Yes.
Because my logical mind does not accept it. And so this journey began of curiosity more than anything over the years as I was growing up. My grandmother, Pooja Bedi, she was one of the highest ordained nuns in Buddhism. She fought the freedom struggle in India against the British. She was British herself. She was sent to jail. She fought. She was with Mahatma Gandhi. So I think that whole social, political journey, spiritual journey that she embarked upon, and a large chunk of what Buddhism is in the West today is thanks to my grandmother, having trained those monks in English and sent them out into the world. She's very close to His Holiness the Karmapa, the 16th Karmapa. And there are 3 books written on her amazing life. Wow. And so that comes from there. My mother, of course, was fully into spirituality and Osho and Carl Jung and Freud. And I just grew up with Krishnamurti, and I grew up with all these thoughts and philosophies and ideologies. And I was just very fascinated. And one day I saw on Facebook an opportunity to learn hypnosis. And I got very excited. Oh, I can make hypnotize people. And it just sounded fascinating. And I went for the course. And it turned out, of course, it was not like Jadoo Tona hypnosis. It was clinical hypnosis. And clinical hypnosis, which taught you the power of your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, patterns, belief systems, age regression, breaking patterns, freeing yourself of blocks that we create, whether it's energetic blocks, money blocks, emotional blocks, financial blocks. So it was very fascinating for me to embark upon that journey. And then I did level 1, level 2. I got diplomas of every single level, all the way right up to the top, six levels of diplomas there. That was wonderful. Along the way, I started my journey into Reiki, energetic sciences, to understand the energetic sciences better. So along the way, I then started my journey to energy work. And energy work, basically, I did Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki 3, Usui. Yeah. Then I did Karuna Reiki 1, 2, and 3. Then I did magnified healing. Then I did soul temple. Then I did heal your life, shamanism. So it just went on. And people used to laugh and call me this workshop junkie, this. And I enjoyed it because I was learning so much. And a lot of it baffled me because, again, it had no logic when it comes to energy work. There's no real logic. It's purely experiential. And then I decided to get more into the psychology part of it again. So then I got into neuro-linguistic programming, and I learned neuro-linguistic programming. That was very fascinating to me. And then I sort of thought, let me amalgamate quantum physics and Newtonian physics, and let me kind of seam it together in this manner in which all of this becomes tangible to the layman. So the layman is there saying, what is all of this? It's Greek to them, gobbledygook. And either it's andhavishwas, and you do energy work which is not understood, or you get into a very technical aspect of the brain, the psychology part of it, which a lot of people don't understand either. Yes. So I said, let me weave this together with these PowerPoint presentations and audio visuals, and make people do these guided meditation journeys so they understand what they're doing and how they're healing. So say, for example, you talk about the law of attraction. Yeah. Okay, there is a science to the law of attraction. Not that Shah Rukh Khan turns around and says, in this filmy dialogue, if you want something with your heart and soul, the universe will conspire to make it happen for you. Yes, it does, but how? And why is it so that certain people manifest what they want and certain people don't manifest what they want? So where are the blocks in that? And energetically, what are you doing to create the destiny that you want, or how are you blocking the destiny that you so desperately want to have for yourself? Those courses were super successful. I started that. So I started my work in energy in 2003. And by 2016, I had launched these workshops, which then took off and did really well. And I thought, that's all very well, but I need to make it more accessible to a larger audience. It's not that Pooja Bedi is going and there are 500 people or 1,000 people and they're listening. It's not large enough. And there's, I look around me and I see so much of suffering on every level. People are unhappy. They want to be happy. Yes. They just don't know how to be happy. So I said, you know what? Let me show them in various forms and ways how to just be happy. And the concept of happy soul was born from there, because we're all happy souls. We all come onto this planet happy. You show a kid a toy, he's delighted. He's crying, you show him something, immediately the soul is happy. So we complicate our lives so much with stress and pressure and wants and demands and expectations and affectations and programming that tells us it should be this way, you should be this way, and what you want to do and what you should do and what you aspire to do are all in conflict with each other. So I said, let's just call it happy soul. Let's just go back to who we are, happy souls, and let's teach people how to reconnect with that aspect of ourselves, which we can actually be every single day of our lives. And so the concept of happy soul, the brand Happy Soul, was born from that.
Wow, that is a really nice journey. In fact, there's so many things that you said, and I'm sure a lot of people don't know about the whole spiritual lineage as well, right? I do believe that it's something that, because you've done the work, so you might be knowing it much more better than me. But just for the others to know about it, I think it's also generational. The ability to heal people, the ability to give, the ability to also listen, the ability to spread happiness is a generational thing. A lot of people talk about this thing that, there is generational pain, but I also believe that there is a very, very strong aspect to believing that a lot of things that people before us couldn't do were handed over that responsibility to then go ahead and do it.
Well, they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. That's the old saying. Yeah. Having said that yes, we tend to repeat the patterns of what goes on that's come down in our ancestry, but we also have the opportunity to change that. Yes. So if something has come down your ancestry line, say for example being a thief or having certain crooked, deceptive spaces within you that you've handed out, by virtue of simply being that person, by osmosis, your children, your grandchildren have all sort of participated in that energetic process.
Yes.
You can turn around and say, it stops right here and right now with me. Yes. And I say no more. Yes. And I say that, if one whole bloodline of people were crooked before me, I don't have to perpetuate that. I do not have to continue that. I do not have to feed that anymore. And it ends right here and right now. In fact, as far as disease goes also, they say you don't actually inherit a disease. Yeah. You inherit the thought process that creates the disease. If you study Louise Hay, for example, and it's amazing what Louise Hay does, the body of work that Louise Hay does in Heal Your Life. And every single disease is linked to an emotional mental is linked to a thought that is led to emotions that leads to a specific part of the body. So say for example diabetes, for example, is caused by bitterness, chronic bitterness. Life has lost its sweetness. So instantly and it's perpetuated in your being, morning, afternoon and night, the sense of bitterness, the sense of anxiety, the sense of anger to do with the fact that the world isn't fair and life is not sweet and beautiful anymore. And if that goes on for an extended period of time, you will then start exhibiting signs of having diabetes. So if you have created your disease, you can uncreate your disease.
Absolutely.
So I always tell people who are suffering from any ailment to go back to the time it started. What was the time it was diagnosed? Go back 1.5 years, because that's how long it takes to set in as a disease, and identify it. And when you identify the thought process, and it's very easy through Louise Hay to identify the thought process that created it, and then you say, all right, yes, I was going through that, let me undo it. Then you use modalities like neuro-linguistic programming or going through age regression, going back to the seed that sowed that emotion, that feeling, and perpetuated it, and delete those negative charges that it still holds in your body and replace it with a neutral or positive charge. And it's really amazing and fascinating how these sciences work in tandem to create great healing. And so for me, it's been a very important journey of sharing. My mother was the ultimate happy soul.
Yeah.
She was just full of life. She was full of wit, humor, and she shared. She gave of herself in every way. Somebody said, Prathama, I really love the necklace you're wearing. She'll take it off and give it to you. You know, that was her. You know, it's just this incredible sense of giving that she had. I think we all like to share. I think we just taught not to.
Yeah.
You know, and conditioned not to, and that's so sad when you think about it. You know, this mind and selfishness, and when everything can be ours. There's enough food on the planet to actually feed everybody. Nobody needs to ever go hungry.
Yes.
But this complex cycles that we've created between corporate world and this whole global culture and selfishness and hoarding and storing and money and commerce, that doesn't enable people to eat that are hungry, whereas foods are rotting in go-downs across the world, and there's overabundance on people's plates and there's wastage. There's actually more than enough food to feed the entire planet, and no one should go hungry.
Yes.
Learn to share, guys.
That truly is what, you know, a very big message. Thank you for sharing that, Pooja. I feel like not only sharing, you know, the food aspect, but sharing every single aspect wherein, you know, even when we teach people something, you went through so many workshops, you know, I'm sure all the things that you learned today, you try to teach it in the integrated space that you've made for yourself.
Correct.
You know, you have a food, you have a lovely cafe with all this beautiful chronic food.
Thank
there
you.
is, you know, a wellness shop. There are so many different things that you were telling me about that's coming along. As an entrepreneur, and I'm sure because you started the journey after doing a lot of things. Right?
Yeah.
So, what have been some of your, you know, challenge moments?
The enormity of what I'm doing, and I think and say, what the hell am I thinking? You know, it's so easy for me to walk onto a set and earn X amount of money and get pampered and go home, and here I am, literally day in and day out. From morning 4 a.m. I wake up and I start assigning work schedules to people and departmental analysis and looking at daily reports and looking at the growth, and there's marketing and there's media and there's promotion and there's food and there's menu. I love it. Yeah. I love it. But then I've been taught to love everything that I do. So I've been taught to you know, just whatever you do, give it 100%, or don't do it. Don't go in the मरते हुए attitude, करना है, कर लेते हैं, अच्छा, wake up in the morning, oh God, I have to go to work. I don't want even a single day of my precious life on this planet to be that. No way. Okay, so I would say my greatest challenges as an entrepreneur, one would be government, permissions. It's a tedious maze and complex maze of paperwork, permissions, departments not giving you stuff, and it just the whole process of getting a business up. Official business up.
Yes.
That is tedious as an entrepreneur, very, very tedious, and I know what I've been up against. Then, of course, is the HR aspect of it, because you're dependent on people to do the jobs. So normally I walk into a set, it's me for me, and I do my bit and I go, and I'm responsible for me. Here, somebody is not well, somebody wants to leave the job, somebody's underperforming, somebody's not interested, somebody's just doing time pass, somebody's, is.
You'll have to look into it all.
And you need the departments to function, because if one doesn't function, the others don't function. Like your chakras in your body, one chakra is out of orbit, the others start getting imbalanced. So if you have an issue with the purchase department, the account department, the vendor manager department, the media, everything gets into a state of chaos. So just managing an efficient system, managing a huge staff, that itself is very challenging. Then of course comes for me as an entrepreneur, I guess it would be the entire system of taxes and taxations that come in. There's a GST aspect, which is so complex in itself. People who think that GST is simple, it is not simple at all. Yes. Especially into a business like mine, which involves cafe and it involves retail, and we're doing workshops, we're doing events, we're doing classes, we're doing all of that. So the complexities of the GST within the GST, and there have been so many issues with understanding different aspects, which even some of the government officials don't know. So my CAs have to go and explain that to the government officials, and it's just a very complex technical process of trying to set up things, which takes away sometimes the joy of actually creating something beautiful, because you're so tangled up with the legalities of everything. So that aspect to me is the most painful, I would say. As an entrepreneur, the beauty and the joy is the process of creation, because you are every day doing something so different from the day before. A new dish is being prepared or ideated over. You have different activities like Happy Soul in Goa, which we're at right now. This is a beautiful big space. We have e-cycle tours that are going to be starting from here. So you can get up in the morning, come over to Happy Soul, do a lovely 1.5 hour guided e-cycle tour, come back, have a beautiful breakfast at Happy Soul, and you're charged and ready for your day. Okay, we've got aqua yoga, aqua aerobics, yin yoga, hatha yoga, vinyasa yoga, restorative yoga, all these classes. We've got we're looking at people coming in for nutritional analysis and psychology, as well as we've got tarot readings. We're doing a lot of energy work. So we're looking at crystal healers coming and spending time here. We're looking at workshops of different natures coming in. Tantra, for example, is so fascinating. Intimacy between couples. So we've got a lovely lady who's going to be coming and teaching Tantra to couples and to individuals, to make them understand their bodies, get in touch with their sensual and sexual selves. And because we have so many blocks when it comes to sex in our country, we're taught not to touch, not to this, not to that. To cover up, modesty, morality. We come in with so many blocks about even enjoying sex, that you're too forward if you enjoy sex as a woman. It's like you're supposed to just be there, keep quiet, and enjoy it, but not speak about how pleasurable it is. And there's so many blocks when it comes to sex in our country. So to just break out of those blocks, to experience true joy of being a sexual being. It's wonderful to be a sexual person. It's incredible to be in touch with your sensuality.
It also translates into other aspects of your life then.
Absolutely, because sensuality is creativity at its best.
It is.
So when you're in touch with those creative and sensual aspects of yourself, you start appreciating so much more in life around you. It could be the touch of this, it could be the feel of this, it could be exactly how this smells and how this tastes, not just robotically going and just taking a sip of tea and putting it down, but actually enjoying the whole process of doing it, and the mindfulness of the moment, experiential in every way, right? So all these things are so important, and for some reason, I don't know why in India they just block everything. Mat karo aise, aisa mat socho, aisa mat karo, this is good and this is bad. There's so many rights and wrongs, and they say, for example, religion. The difference in religion and spirituality. Yes. Religion has a whole set of right and wrong and do and don't and good and bad and heaven and hell and all this construction. If you don't do this, then this. It's a construct. Whereas spirituality is like a direct Wi-Fi connection to the universe.
Yes, I believe so.
There's no do-don't. It's just your direct hotline to the universe, and it's spiritual. Yes. And you're just in touch with the most incredible energy source, and it's just you and the energy source and how you communicate with it. And I think that is so powerful. And I think that a lot of people who are watching this should really explore being themselves. So we're so trapped in living up to an image, we're so trapped in living up to wanting to be like someone or getting somewhere that we are told we should get to, where we're told to achieve certain things to be valuable or to be relevant. And I think it's so sad that our whole lives we push towards being what other people have defined as a standard, rather than actually living our life the way we would like to live our life, and breathe and eat and sleep and wake and love and experience and travel and marry and eat as we would like to, and explore. And I just really wish that for everyone around me. And through Happy Soul, we try in every possible way to open minds. So we don't say, oh, eat only pranic food, oh, eat only vegan food. No, absolutely not. We serve chicken on our menu, but it's antibiotic-free chicken. So make better choices, right? Because we know that in the chicken industry, there's so much of antibiotics pumped into all the chickens. So you're actually eating a fat piece of chicken that's pumped with antibiotics that goes inside and contaminates your body, and then you have disease, and then you get into this mental stress because you have a disease, and emotional distress and physical distress, and you perpetuate that whole cycle. Just eat healthier chicken, You have eggs, for example. We have cage-free eggs. So the energy of everything is important. So for me in my kitchen, for example, I remember I had a chef when we first started Happy Soul. Wonderful chef, but a really angry and authoritative and mean chef, okay? And he kind of traumatized my entire kitchen staff, and everyone was like always in a state of fear. And I walked to the kitchen multiple times, and I didn't like the energy in the kitchen. And I said no, because the energy goes into the food. And when you cook with a certain energy, you feed with a certain energy, people receive the food also with a certain energy, right? Which is why it's very important to keep your domestic staff happy, because if they're sitting and chopping like that, mem saab ne ye bola, tak 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 tak, okay, then it's going to translate into that energy coming into your body, right? So it's really important for me to have my kitchen staff happy. So I asked the chef to leave, my head chef, and I said, please, I'm so sorry, but this journey at Happy Soul is not going to be one which you can share together. And you should see my team now. They're bubbling in the kitchen. They're happy in the kitchen. They're the positive vibe. And the first thing I tell anybody new who's entering, either you love your job or you go find another job, because I want you to wake up happy. I want you to come to this kitchen happy. I want you to be happy to be cutting those vegetables, happy to be serving the guests, happy to be doing these things, because at the end of the day, I need energy to be happy around, for that positivity to lift. So people who enter the space and I say, it's so positive. That's because it's filled with positive energy, and energy is so powerful and virulent, I would say. I mean, so often a person walks into a room, right? A person walks into a room and you turn around and say, wow, who's that? You know nothing about them, just this aura around that person. Or somebody walks into the room and you're like, I don't like this person. Pata nahi, something about, you don't even know the person. You've not even said hi to the person, but just something and you said, don't like this person. Your energy walks into the room before you do.
True.
Energy introduces yourself before you do. So, so keep it positive, guys.
That is great. That's I think every single thing that we've been trying to say through so many different podcasts about wellness, about your mental space, about the way that you keep your surroundings, the things you consume, right? The kind of places that you go to. I think you've already said everything in the last 15 minutes.
Thank you. No, I think the concept of wellness is very predefined earlier, and more to suit an industry that was catering to physical wellness. So I think a large part of our lives was focused on thinking wellness means if I'm physically fit, I'm fit. That was the agenda, and that to physically fit meant like you had to be thin. Okay, so that again was standard of fit was thin, which is not. You can be tubby, and you can also be very, very fit. Fitness levels have nothing to do with weight. It is connected, but not to the extent that you have to be super skinny, because you can be super skinny and super unfit. So basically, to me, when I get into the world of wellness, for me, it's about the layers of wellness. So we're talking about mental wellness, emotional wellness, sexual wellness, financial wellness, spiritual wellness, social wellness, and physical wellness. All these aspects are so important. And again, like the chakra system, if one of those wellness is out of sync, all parts of you is out of sync.
It is absolutely. This has been a promotional aspect for our wellness society as well, because we believe in the same philosophy, and it's really nice because the more people talk about it, and especially people who are in a space where they can create. You were talking about creative energy, and how you've infused it in every single thing that you've touched, right?
I tried.
It's been it's lovely. It's beyond what anybody would think they would want into a space. As you said, there's so many things that they can come and do. They can eat and they can do workshops and they can keep coming again and again, and you're constantly evolving as well. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about you that I've realized, that over the years in any kind of space that you've been in, right, that constant, you mentioned this thing when you don't want to be unhappy doing things, and it resonates with every single thing that you've done in life.
Yeah.
Wherever you have been, whatever you have done, it has been that burst of energy, it has been that burst of exuberance that you've brought along with you in every single aspect, and it shows so well in the space that you have created.
Thank you for that. My mother also had a very similar energy vibe, much more than me. I think she was like the storm. I'm like a little cute gurgle, So she again had a life that was filled with so many different journeys, hers as well. And every time one day I remember I was sitting with her, I said, Mom, why are you always running away? You ran away from this, you ran away from the marriage, you ran away from being in Bombay, you ran away to learn dance, you ran away from dance, you started this, then you ran away from Bombay and went to Bangalore to set up Kutiram. Now you've left Kutiram and Nityagram, and you've put on your sannyasi robes and you're running off into the mountains. Why are you always running away? And she said, darling, I think you've looked at it differently. Yeah. I'm not running away from something, I'm running towards something. Yeah. And there's a big difference if you run away and run towards. And she says, I let life lead me. Wow. And the problem with most of us is that we believe that we do one thing, we should be doing the same thing over and over and over again till the end of our days. Yes. Right? If you love what you do, of course, do it. Yes. If you're driven by passion, is that one thing that is meant for you and you can't think of anything else but this being your life because you wake up consumed with this passion for it, do it. But if you're holding on to something because it is the right thing to do, or because it's been done, or because you're scared of change or scared to experience something new, that's not living life. We're on this planet. My mom's book is called Time Pass. Okay. And she says you're born, birth, and you die, death. So between the journey of life and death, we know we're born, we know we die. There's this little thing called life. Yes. And all you have to do from birth to death is time pass. Have a great time. Look at this incredible planet. There are billions and billions of solar systems around us and not one sign of life. And this planet has abundant life, not just one bird and one animal. It's got some thousands and hundreds and thousands of species on this planet. Hundreds and thousands of species of flora and fauna on this planet. Hundreds and thousands of different kinds of experiences that you can have with the planet. Look at the food, look at the cultures, look at the colors, look at it's just so much around us, and on one planet. And all you have to come in here and just experience, and all we do is close ourselves, and all you have to do is just say, oh my God, this planet is magical. And people are there, nee, humko itna yehi khana pasand hai. Are go try the different flavors, keep an open mind, try different forms of clothes, try different ways of interacting with people. वो अपने जैसे नहीं है, they're not like us. But go to get to know different types of people. They all come in with their own experiences. Yes, you may not identify with 100 things that they say, but at least if 3 things that you've learned from somebody in your interaction with them is something new, you've learned 3 new things today. They always tell me, I know what to talk to that person about. I'm like, how old is that person? Oh, must be around 35. I'm like, can you imagine? There are 35 years of experience on this planet. There's at least something that the person can bring to the table that you may not have known. So I ask questions like, what's the most interesting restaurant you've been to, or what's the best place you've traveled to, or tell me something about a certain kind of experience, what that person is all about. And I want to know, certain kind of dish, a certain kind of experience, a certain kind of thought process. I learn, because even learning how people think helps you then help them overcome it.
True.
And if you block yourself off from that, how will you ever understand what it is like to be there, so that you can enable them to transcend that and to be bigger than that and to do more than that. You don't have to let go of who you are to be more than who you are.
I love this.
So
you've said there's been so much. I was going to ask you for one pearl of wisdom, but I think you've given us the whole. from the beginning, like from your mom's way of kind of looking at life to what you have now, imbibed, and what you've just spoken about, I feel like everybody needs to hear this. I'm so glad we're doing this because there's so many young people who get closed in this box.
Yeah.
What else if not anxiety, depression, and so many different mental health issues, right? How is it happening? Because we're constraining ourselves, we're restricting ourselves, putting ourselves in boxes, right? But then, this way of looking at life is just opening so many doors, and I'm so glad that you said this today, and that whoever's listening also gets an insight into there's not just one way of thinking. There could be so many different ways of thinking. How open are you to embrace it?
I think what's beautiful about the younger generation is actually what people call the bane of the younger generation, which is social media. So my generation is what we call the sandwich generation. Okay, we're caught between, thankfully not me, I had very bohemian parents, but around me, like my entire age group, is stuck with these parents that are like the archetypal Indian parents, right? Which are just this whole beta, aise mat pehno kapde, chalo puja paठ करते हैं, चलो ऐसे मत करो, लोग क्या सोचेंगे, what will people say, this is not the right way, and this is what we should be doing, and all those archaic thought processes. I have very bohemian parents, okay?
But, for example.
So wait, I'll get back to that. Yeah. So you have that generation of parents, and then you have my kids who are ultra modern and their whole generation is like ultra modern and space and chill and bounce and TTYL and all the stuff going on there. So and don't tell us what to do, and they're just their own people. Thanks to social media, they're very expansive in their thought processes. So we're kind of stuck in between that generation and this generation. We're kind of very confused in identity of who we should be actually being like, because you have to please this generation, you have to also please this generation. Not that you have to please anybody, so to speak, but the fact is you still need to blend and merge, right? Because it is your daily life. You are dealing with that generation, and it's not effortless when you're stuck in the sandwich generation, as we call it. I think the younger generation have it really good because they are able to earn for our generation, and my parents' generation believed in buy a home, and that grounds you. Buy a car, it grounds you. Buy furniture that lasts you generations.
Yes.
Okay, this current generation, like, I just want to rent a place. If I don't like it, I'll move to another country. I'll move to another city.
Yes.
And for them, it was about I want to be transient.
Yes.
Okay. Then you had. In terms of food habits, they're like, today I don't want to eat at home, I want to do a Zomato and a Swiggy, and I want to order in. Yeah. They are into this, I don't want a car that I have to then maintain and look after, I'd rather just take an Uber. Yeah. It's ideas to get from point A to point B, thank you very much, job done.
Convenience.
Convenience and utility. Relationships also, for that matter. That generation believed, hold on to your marriages, no matter how bad or how tough or how you are beaten to death in that marriage, it shows my stamina, I survived, bachcho ke liye kiya.
Yes.
That whole thing. And the kids of today are like, I don't need to be beaten my whole life to prove a point to somebody who's going to die and not remember me in the first place.
True.
This is my life. I'm just very happy to say, if the relationship works, great. If it doesn't work, that's also fine. Thank you for the time we spent together. Thank you for the journeys we've had together. Time to move on. And a lot of the current generation actually does not want to be married. A lot of my children's friends, when I talk to them, that age group, they just say, what is the need to get married? Also, they've been traumatized by watching the generations before them having to stay stuck, as they call it, in marriages. And for them, it's no longer valid or important. In our generation, again, it was about what will people say. It wasn't okay to be unmarried. It wasn't okay to be divorced. It wasn't okay to be remarried. It wasn't okay. Everything not okay. And it wasn't okay to have a child outside wedlock. So today things are so different. You can have a child outside wedlock. There's no great eyebrows raised, and it's trickling down from the metros down to the smaller towns and cities, just the way clothes did. At one point of time, jeans were prerogative of the city people, and now jeans are worn in every village. Skirts and dresses are now worn all the way down. Soon it'll be a question of mini skirts coming in. Soon it'll be a question of ideologies. Girls are being educated. First of all, the city girls were educated. Now village girls are being educated. So it's all a trickle down effect where it starts becoming acceptable and aspirational to just be your own person. And if you want to wear salwar kameez, saris, wear it. You want to wear miniskirt, wear it.
Yes.
You know, and the thing with India is we are multitasking multiple centuries at the same time. So there's a woman in a parda who's equally valid, relevant, and existing today, as is the girl in the bikini who's running down the beaches. So, and she's also equally Indian and equally relevant and important and present in India. So we're multitasking multiple centuries in one country, which I think is very fascinating in every possible way. Our cultures, our habits, our food. So there's so much stimulation available here that people tend to want to closet themselves into my type, your type, my community, your community, and this intercaste, interracial, interreligious was considered taboo, and it no longer is. You know, so there may be a few factions that believe that, oh, it should only be this way, but you know, they're going to die out in the next 10 years or 20 years, and that'll be that, and hopefully that mindset will be gone with them as well.
Yes, the mindset will be evolving a lot much more than what we have looked at even now.
Absolutely.
You spoke about, I think, choice as well. We're moving towards an era of choice. It's giving choice much more advantage than something wherein, you know, we can only look at a certain aspect through somebody else's lens. No, this is my choice.
Correct.
And I will look at things in a way where I am resonating with it most.
Yeah.
I will choose things that resonate with me most, and I will choose a lifestyle as well.
And you can, and also you're entitled to change that. So it's not that I made this choice, now I have to stick with it. No, you can make a choice and say, I have a better choice ahead of me, or maybe this wasn't the best choice for me and I choose to change. Nothing says that this has to be the right choice and that you'll be shamed if you made the wrong choice. It's okay to make wrong choices too.
Yes.
It's a learning curve,
Yes.
you know, and either you benefit from it or you gain experience from it.
Yes.
You know, one of the two. And they're both win-win situations. Yeah, because then you learn what not to do.
Yes.
And sometimes knowing what you don't want is more important than knowing what you do want.
Absolutely right.
You know, so
Absolutely right. And also tell us what makes your soul happy. Like, what are some of the things which really make your heart sing? You know, it could be anything that you would like to share.
You know, this is the, I know it's strange, I say this is just the loveliest thing. Everything makes me happy. I could, you know, it could be something as simple as a call from my kid suddenly coming in, my heart lights up. It could be a customer that pays money at Happy Soul and my heart lights up. It could be the fact I created this, my heart lights up. I wake up in the morning and I suddenly see an image of something or something. It takes very little to make me happy. You know, it's just, I think I'm grateful. I'm just so grateful for everything in my life. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to the universe, to people, to life, to the upbringing, to my family, to my friends, to just being on this planet. I think I'm just so grateful to be here and in this form and in this shape, and you know, given the lives that I have been given, and it's not been easy. You know, if people think, oh, Pooja Bedi, celebrity child, being a film star, life's been a easy journey for her, silver spoon in her mouth, what would she have problems with? Like, what could be her problem? She doesn't understand what we go through, what we suffer, our pain, our this, our that. You know, so there is again preconceived notions, right? And then when I tell my journey, and I've said this on a few other platforms, when I say, you know, I was 27 years old. Okay, 27 years old. Firstly, I was 18 years old when I started earning my own living. I didn't take a penny from my parents as money. Since the time I was 18 years old, I earned it all myself. That's number one. Yes. Number two, when I got divorced, I didn't take a single rupee money from my husband. I was literally starting with writing a column for like 4,000 rupees per column and 16,000 rupees per month at the age of 32. You know, and restarting with 2 small kids as a single mother. It's not easy, right? But I did that. But I tell people that from the age of 27 till 31, 32, that was about 4.5 years, within a period of 4 years, I lost everything. There was a person that was close to me. I lost my grandmother. She died. I lost my dog. Dog lovers, pet lovers know what it's like to lose a dog that's been with you 10 years and you're super attached to them. So I lost my grandmother, I lost my dog. The man who raised me from the time I was 6 months old, he passed away, my father figure. My brother committed suicide. My mother died. My marriage broke up. And in the middle of this, I'm having 2 kids. And every 6 months, something dramatic was happening. So you can imagine losing your grandmother, 6 months losing your dog, losing the man who brought you up, losing your brother, giving birth to a child, losing your mother, giving birth to another child, marriage is over. It's not easy. It's emotionally really difficult. You don't have any support system around you. And then you start life from scratch again. Right? And So people who say you don't understand pain, I do. You don't understand loss, I do. And the point is, everybody's story is the same. Each of us will go through exactly this. Maybe I had a much more condensed version, it was too much in too short a period of time. But we will all of us will go through the same thing. So each one thinks this pain is exclusive to me. It is not exclusive to you. Everyone at some point will lose their parent, lose a job, have financial pressures, not succeed in their business, have issues regarding love. It is everybody's story. How you deal with what happens to you. How you deal with the same stuff that life throws in everyone's way. The way that you respond and react to what life throws your way, that defines you. That defines your journey forward. What is your spirit? What is your life lesson in, all right, shit happens. Shit happens to all of us. Okay? So what am I going to do about it? How do I empower my life through this and beyond this? How do I, so people say, do you not feel pain, Pooja? Are you never sad? A lot of people ask me that. You're always so happy. Are you never sad? And I'm like, no. I'm very sad when I need to be sad. And I indulge that sadness. So say, for example, a relationship has broken up, right? I'm not going to say, nothing, forget it, who cares, and move on. No. Deal with it. I have lost a relationship that was important. Something happened that really upset me and has deeply saddened me. So I will do the whole Meena Kumari. I will listen to sad songs. I will watch sad movies. I will immerse myself in those memories and I will purge it out. Because like a ball, you take it and put it below water. You try to suppress it. There's a problem, you let go and it explodes and comes out. I don't want that sort of stuff. So I will just allow it to release, purge, cry, weep, do all of that, okay? And get it out. And after about 5 days, I'm just really tired of being sad. I don't want to be sad anymore. I'm like, done and dusted with being sad. Thank you very much.
Yes, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Pooja, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You shared so many things. One last thing that I want to ask you is that, I already know personally, but please share your vision with the whole Happy Soul, concept, with, how you would like to look at it from a more future perspective. And also, one parting message for everyone who's listening about something that, you think is so important for people to know. Of course, all the things that you told us have been gems. And I feel like me personally sitting here, I've learned so many things in just half an hour. But, any one message that you would like to give anybody?
Okay, so the journey of Happy Soul is a very long distance one. It started with me doing wellness retail, so it's about what you put into your mouth, what you put onto your skin, what you put into your hair, what you inhale. So the retail shop is up. We promote vendors from across the country. We will also have our own product line eventually, that's the plan. But also we promote all the best vendors, companies, individuals that have these amazing wellness products from across the country. We encourage them to come stock with us. So the retail stores are going to go across the country as a franchise model. I then started the Happy Soul Wellness Cafe, which is amazing in terms of what it gives you in terms of food and ideas and thought processes and energy and all of that. And again, this is on a franchise model. I've already received 37 offers to franchise the cafe across the country. So that's been, thank you, that's been quite overwhelming and again, very exciting for us, putting the SOPs and manuals in place and taking that journey forward. In addition to that, I want to start a whole Happy Soul Wellness Center. And again, do that across the country in not like, oh, go get a massage, but like complete overall wellness in every form happening at that center, from chakra healing, balancing, energy work, infrared treatment, salt studios, chakra massages, things, everything to do with the world of wellness, which is different and all encompassing on multiple levels of our being, right? So all of that. Then this is the wellness centers. Then I want to get into wellness awards. I want to get into wellness festivals. I want to get into wellness travel, where you start, where I open up a site where people will then know where to come to get ideas of where to go to for the best experiences. Like, do I go to a spa? Do I go to a healing Ayurvedic center? Do I go here? Do I go there? Where should I go if I want an adventure holiday? Where do I go if I want a yoga retreat? So I have a portal for all of that as well. So The journey of Happy Soul will just keep growing because it's all about health and wellness and making sure that you take that forward in every possible way and reach out to every possible faction of people in society. At some point later, of course, I want to also get into things that are good to the planet, maybe go into something that's electric, deal with solar power, deal with a lot of organic produce growing, get into farmlands that have that are growing different kinds of herbs, different kinds of foods that are actually really high in nutrition and not GMO and not don't have a large carbon footprint. How to bring that to people's homes, how to teach people how to do hydroponics within their own home, little cute unit set up for things like that, so people can start being self-sufficient, self-sustenance, those kind of things. I want to start apps so people can learn how to do things themselves, how to meditate themselves, guided meditations, go have a whole online presence to empower people. There's a huge journey ahead of me, and it's but sometimes I just sit back and think,
but it's so good.
Wow.
It's so nice to see so much of zeal. It's so nice to see so much of just sheer energy that you have. We spoke about so many things, but age has got nothing to do with it, and you're like a real life example of it, because all the things that you mentioned, the journey from the beginning to now, and even the journey ahead, from the word go, you've just told us, so much of life within you itself. The name Happy Soul is actually not just, a cafe, but I feel like it's just a representation.
A way of
very
life.
Right when you said in the beginning that you can call me Happy Soul.
She said, what do I call you? Do I call you Pooja? Do I call you Pooja ma'am? I said, call me whatever you want. Eventually, I said, just call me Happy Soul.
But it is so true. It is so true. I think even without you having said it, I would like to translate your message for everybody, and of course we would like to hear from you as well. That this kind of energy, this kind of exuberance, this kind of passion to bring to the table every morning when you wake up can really transform your life, no matter what you're going through in life.
True.
It
Absolutely.
could be anything.
Absolutely. And I think the message I'd like to leave everybody with is to say that you have just one life. We don't know what awaits us. You have no clue. What happens from the day you die onwards is a big question mark. What you do have to do is make sure your journey here, while you're here, is phenomenal. And that you just spread love, you spread joy. And if there are people out there who are cruel, you should understand one aspect, that nobody likes being a negative person. This is another thing I want to actually share with everybody. A lot of people say, I just want to surround myself with positive people. I stay away from negative people. And I ask, why? Because who is a negative person? A negative person is somebody who is hurting. Right? And if a person is hurting and you stay away from them, you are then rejecting that person and adding and amplifying their pain.
Yes.
And the sense of no support in their life. So my point is, go out there and spread your positivity. Why do you assume? This is the message for you. Why do you assume that somebody's negativity can overshadow your positivity? Why do you not approach it with the manner that I will infect that person with my positivity and their negativity shall be gone? Right? And that's the way I look at every situation. That's the way I look at every person that I encounter. I say, oh, what a negative person. I'm like, all right, how do you put a smile on the face of this negative person? How do I make that person even take a small grin, because that will start the trigger of change. So I think what's really important is to understand your own self-worth and your own self-power. And self-love, self-care, self-respect, self-worth, these are not selfish. There's a big difference. And most importantly, one thing I will leave you with on this note is, do not lose the child in you. There's a big difference in childish and childlike.
Yes.
And never lose a childlike quality in you, ever. That is the essence of who you are, because children are filled with curiosity, adventure, enthusiasm, passion, excitement, joy. The world is theirs to conquer. And through life, you become these grumpy old people. Nothing will change. हो रहा है होने दो, चलने जो. बच्चे के लिए जीते हैं अभी. And you're like, when did that child turn into that?
Yes.
When did this turn into that, and why? Why did you allow yourselves to become that? So don't ever lose a child in you. Never lose a child in you.
Wow.
So I think that's a very important point I'll leave you with, is self-love, self-care, self-respect, self-worth, and never lose a child in you, ever.
That is amazing. Thank you, Pooja. This has been lovely. As I said, I have got to learn so much. Like just sheer listening to every single thing that you've spoken about today. There have been these tiny things that I'm going to take back with me. You know, regardless of the podcast, because I hope I aspire to be even 10% of this energy when I am, you know, further ahead in my life, because this is amazing.
That's so sweet. It's like when I grew up, it's like the little nano thing. When I grew up, I want to be a Mercedes. No, you are you. You are amazing. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her skin. Look at her energy. Look at her radiance. And you can see she's somebody who's a good person. You can see the good person in there. You can see someone who's equally committed to this journey of growth and wellness and happiness. And it reflects in your face, you know. And that's another thing. You can see it in people's faces, what they've allowed life to do to them.
Yes.
So, you know, your face gets set in different ways. So
that is so important to talk about.
Yes.
I do feel like every single thing that you've spoken about today, you know, I feel like there has been so much of what I think already, and you know what I talk about already. Everything, as I said, you know, it's been like a proper reflection. Thank you for also mentioning that what you do with yourself, it could be emotionally, mentally, physically, through food, through anything. Right? You expose yourself
Absolutely.
to things. It shows in your body, it shows in your face, it shows in the way that you talk also, you know.
Yes.
So I feel like that was so necessary to talk about. Thank you so much for that.
Pleasure, and it was wonderful being on this podcast. And her juice has bifurcated, and her pranic smoothie has become warm.
Right. This was so much more pranic for me personally. You know, this is going to come second, but thank you, Pooja. Thank you. This has been lovely. I love this. It has been one of the best podcasts that we've shot so far.
I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you, and may you go from strength to strength. Shine bright.
Thank you. Thank you.